Welcome to the Boise State Esports Arena. Tonight you join us for two thrilling Overwatch matches in PEC and Mountain West. It is the final week of PEC competition as Boise State looks to go up against Ohio State, a team that has been on the rise in terms of skill and performance. But will it be enough to unseat the Broncos, who have had a pretty flawless season thus far? That's what we're here to find out tonight. I'm your host, Jacob Palmer. I am joined by Bryce Jensen. And we are going to have, before we start, just a little bit of an extended pre-show for you, talking about where things stand currently, starting off with PEC standings, Bryce. And I mentioned Boise State, pretty much up to this time, has had a pretty flawless record.
Yeah, Boise State has had a really good run this season. I believe that the only map they've dropped so far was last week against Kansas State. I believe it was round 1 that they ended up losing. Oh, but here is the standings currently. We have we have Kansas at 3-2 and looking for the Broncos. Broncos are the only one currently with a 5-0 record, but looking down at Oklahoma, they're currently at a 2-3 record. But those last 2 wins have come fairly recently, and they have looked really good in those wins currently. As you can see, we have Syracuse versus USC tonight and Kansas versus Oklahoma. We personally won't be covering those, but they are going on alongside, as this is the final week of standard regulation competition before the finals at the beginning of April.
Let's take a look back, though, at some of the big plays that we had last week when Boise State faced off against Kansas. As you can see, they picked up, Boise State picked up a 3-1 win against Kansas. If I remember correctly, the Jayhawks kind of surprised the Broncos a little bit at the start of the first round. Boise State having to go one extra round all the way to push to decide it all.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise decision off the side of Kansas. There were a lot of decisions made by both Kansas and the Broncos that were a little bit questionable, but at the same time, Boise State did end up pulling out a win after losing this first round. You just sort of had to realize that the Wrecking Ball wasn't quite going to work into a brawl comp, and I think they pushed that they pushed the ball a little bit too hard.
Well, certainly when that Wrecking Ball hit, it sure did. I think we are going to see very closely here. He was able to combo not only his slams with minefields to just knock his opponents into the mines, basically helping to delete their health. Thinking tried to bring it back here with the Dragon Blade, but Strider was just too much on a roll. There it goes. There it goes. The tee shot right into the mines, golfing style.
Yep, that is what you just got. It's what you got to do as Wrecking Ball, especially with him being so prevalent in the professional scene right now. He's going to be moving pretty. I'm fairly certain he's going to be moving into this as well in the future. I mean, he's just such a great character right now, being one of the most survivable tanks in the game. The swap over to Blizzard World was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one in the grand scheme of things. We've been seeing this map a lot more of late, especially in PEC. Haven't seen it as much in Mountain West, but we do see it enough to where it's starting to become a mainstay pick, and you can just see how good Strider is at pushing people off the high ground as the Wrecking Ball.
It was just Strider. Maxwell really came alive in this fight as well. That new perk, the overcharge that you get on the right click, 150 damage. I mean, he was using that to his fullest ability, so we're going to want to watch out to see if he's in the starting lineup, which, according to your information, might not be, but maybe a swap comes through. We just don't know, but that, I think, is basically... Oh, yeah, this one was a great... that was a really great combo there with the Pulse Bomb as well. The Graviton Surges were pretty insane.
Yeah, Zarya honestly got a really big buff with the perks. And Zarya is one of those characters that you pick as more of a supporting ultimate. Think about Dragon Strike, you think Dragon Blade, or any sort of DPS ultimate that requires a very large area, you use Zarya, because what does it do? It pulls everybody together, squishes them in one spot. But now, with the Particle Lance enhancement, you also have the Gravitic Crush enhancement as well. It makes Zarya so much more threatening by herself, only needing one ult to secure a team fight. As we can see, unfortunately, a lot of Kansas had to figure out the hard way.
Now we're getting really close to starting the game, so we'll go into a final few replays that are just a little bit more silly than the rest, just a little bit of oddness that happened last week. And we won't just be showcasing Overwatch, we also have a Smash replay ready to go, if I am not mistaken. But This was just to start things off, just a little bit of silliness from Strider, who just sometimes when he is just that confident can just go into the back line all by himself and just have a party.
I mean, when you have close to 2,000 effective HP, I think you can be just a little silly going into things.
And speaking of silly, the Broncos' newest way of celebrating, Doc bought himself a Boogie Bomb replica and throws that down when they win. And then I'm informed that this is supposed to be celebratory dancing here on stage.
What are you talking about? They look super happy in the clip to me.
It was more like a full-body dry heave set to music. Anyway, and then you were here for this match here in Smash. This was just a great kind of oopsies by Kansas here.
It was an overall thrilling match against Kansas last week in Super Smash Bros. There were a lot of good plays made on both sides, but this was one of the blunders of all time from Kansas's side, and it was honestly really fun to watch. We saw a lot of dominance out of Kansas.
I mean, he's on a roll. He's ready.
He's on a roll, and then he missed.
He missed and just throws himself off the edge.
You tend to forget how big of a range that Flare Blitz goes in Super Smash Bros. And I feel like it's like RNG. You roll a dice and it says, oh, you're going to go 3 meters. Oh, never mind. You're going off the stage. Bye-bye, Charizard. Well,
before we get to this week's match, we have one final very special compilation of replays put together by our own Dallin Starnes. You can check it out on our YouTube channel as well as our newest short. Let's take a look at some things from last week.
No.
You know what I find funniest about that final clip is that since Genji wasn't killed by fall damage, he didn't get killed because he went out of the zone. He got killed by regular damage.
Yeah.
He had to find the Genji falling death sound effect and then add that at the end of the clip.
Yeah, Dallin really hit it out of the park with that one. So if you want to show him a bit of support, you can go and like the short on our YouTube page because that certainly brightened up.
While you're at it.
Yes, follow subscribe and ring that bell if you don't want to miss another stream of Boise State esports. But yeah, the team certainly enjoyed seeing that, and some of the plays that we were talking about as being the main serious play showed up in that too, like the knocking into the minefields and all of that.
The unfortunate Zarya falling off the map after ragdolling. I think that the explosion ragdolls in Overwatch are only rivaled, in my opinion, by Team Fortress 2. And that is like the only game that can rival the ragdolls, especially on characters like Winston. You activate the jump pack, you think you're going to get away, nope, Brig takes you down, and you go flying.
Every game should just have ragdoll physics. I think that just needs to be a rule. Every single game.
It's just like proximity voice chat.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that needs to be in every single game.
Oh, right.
Like imagine how fun Overwatch would be if everybody was just screaming at each other. Like you could hear the enemy team too. It would just be chaos, but it would be fun.
I'm going to have to take a rain check on that idea. But now let's get to this week's match. We are all set to get to Boise State. We will take a short break and then be back with that match, so do not go away. That's it for this little pre-show. We'll be back after a few special messages that we have just for you.
Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance. Home is where you hang your hat, snuggle up, hide out. Home is when you're with the ones you love. It isn't just a place, it's a state of mind. At Idaho Central Credit Union, our home is Idaho. We grew up here, and we're proud to help more Idahoans with their home loan than any other financial institution. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe home is where you make it.
Growing up in Riggins, we have certain rules we live by. Look both ways before crossing the street. Fishing stories get better the more you tell them. Small town life makes your life anything but small. Never work alone when you go hunting. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
At Blue Ribbon Painting, we're proud to be a locally family-owned and operated business dedicated to bringing your vision to life. Whether it's freshening up your home with interior or exterior painting or tackling a commercial project, we've got you covered. When you choose Blue Ribbon Painting, you're not just hiring painters. You're getting a team that's committed to making your vision a reality. Call or text us at 208-369-2583 or visit us at blueribbonpainting.net. Your project deserves a blue ribbon finish.
Scum.
Welcome back to the Boise State Esports Arena, and we are just gearing up for our match tonight against Ohio State in the PEC. But before we get there,
Before we go into this next round of PEC, we are going to be doing a little bit of a dartboard competition with 4 members of our production staff. And do you know what's on the line? I heard that it's going to be the best prize that we have ever given out here.
Oh, it's absolutely nothing except bragging rights, which is...
How could you say that's nothing? That's like everything. And I don't know if you guys can hear that, but W's in chat for Brady. I think Brady is a favored to win in this competition here.
Well, we're going to see who wins this opening game gambit against Boise State. Boise State is going to have 4 players all playing 301 darts, open in, open out. So Ray steps up for the first shot, starts with a single 20. Next few shots a little to be desired, but overall a decent start there.
Next up is Chant. He's been pretty good at darts in the past, and he's been practicing quite a bit, and he's showing off his skills. Single 17 and a triple 15 to end it off. But Brady is up next. Every time I see him in the arena, he is practicing darts. I can tell why he is the favorite to win here, but the double 1 to end it off leaves him in last place at the end of this. And next up will be Jonas, and we're going to have to see how he stacks up.
Starting things up with a single 5, moves to a single 20 to kind of recover. Now we're waiting up for the next player, going back on over toward Ray for the second round. Single 9. It's single 1.
Chance is back up, already putting over 30 points and 2 19s in a row. Man, I think Chance might be the underdog to win here against Brady. He needs to step it up just a little bit in order to find his way back. And a single 17 and a single 19 is going to get him fairly close, being able to take the lead past Ray, and it is up to Jonas now to put some points on, or take some points off the board.
Well, triple 12's a really good start.
Just great.
Although single 1, I mean, that's the risk you take of going for that area of the dartboard. That 1 is just right next to the 20, so many people just aim for that high-value target. But also because a lot of people are right-handed, they just happen to miss a little to the right, and then that 1 just gobbles it up.
Yeah, plus it's so windy in this building. I mean, it's pretty easy for darts to get blown off course, and there's a lot of factors in here. It's kind of a turbulent environment. Brady back up to bat. And he is actually going to go on a roll here, already past the 200 mark, right with Chance. But Chance still has a pretty big lead on Brady, being at the same spot in a lot less of the time.
Now, one of the strategies that is commonly used is, well, a lot of players kind of go for that 20 because triple 20 is possibly the most that you can score. You also got a lot of points that can be scored in the lower left quadrant of the field. I'm talking specifically about that 16, 7, 9 area right there, because even if you're a little inaccurate, you can still be racking up a lot of points with triple 16s or triple 19s. But we're going to be going way off to the right side of the field instead.
Yeah, I'd also like to point out the 15, 17, 10, 15, 17 side of the board as well. That has quite a few good spots. I mean, you can land on the 2, which is not exactly ideal, but you still get some pretty good shots.
Really good
but a
start.
single 20,
Another
single 20, and
and
ending
the
it off with a
5.
5.
Yeah,
45 points in one round.
It's kind of an
There's
all or
nothing to scoff
nothing
at.
thing. You got the 1 to the right and the 5 to the left.
We got 1s to the left of me, 5s to the right, and here
But
I
you
am.
are not stuck in the middle with the 20. You wish you were,
I
but
wish
you weren't.
I wish I was.
No.
In an ideal world, that's where I'd be.
All right, starts things off with a nice 20. That's going to bring that down to 164. Right back up here. Now down to 120. We're getting close to possibly closing out. And that's good start with the 20. Trying to go for the triple. Instead hits the 5.
Broken
Close
into the
things
double
out with a
digits.
19. That's a lot of points, though.
And a double 19 at that, breaking it almost down to the 50 threshold. And right now, you got to be a little bit wary. You are in the zone to bust.
Oh,
go over,
hits
but
the
a
bull.
bullseye. Wow.
You're going to have to take our word for it, but they did, in fact, hit the
well,
bullseye.
I mean, the screen said they hit the bullseye.
Yeah,
so,
but
I mean,
take our
the
word and the
screen
screen's
wouldn't.
word. I just wish I could have seen the actual
And
play
another
field.
one.
You
And
know,
then a
why
single
is it
one.
when it goes from here to here? This is okay. We see it in the lower left.
Yeah, you can see it. You can see in the left. The white is
If
a
I
single.
squint my eyes,
Hey, I got new glasses recently. Shout out to my optometrist. That's right. I know some big words.
well, the word that you should be. There we go.
Ooh, another bullseye.
There we go. I
Brady
like
is
this a
looking to
lot
bring
better.
this
Yeah,
back.
there we go. 84. Brady's making some moves, but now we go on to player 2, which has the chance to close this out at 57. Could do it. The only thing that would really bust him would be the triple 20.
is
Now down to
very
53.
elusive.
Now down to 33. And 17. So he's got his number that he can aim for. And that's a pretty safe number, too, because even if he misses to the left or right a little bit, that's 3 and 2. That will not bust him.
As long as you don't veer off too far to the left, though, because 19 is also pretty close to 17 in that circle. And, I mean, if you hit 15, it also wouldn't be too terrible.
Oh,
Ooh,
sets
the
up a triple
triple
1.
one.
Yeah, that's a whole 3 points there going into his pocket.
Hey, I mean, it's 2 more points than the lowest score you can get.
As we
Once
go
again
with a
with the
bull there,
bullseye.
Brady on a roll.
Oh, the practice is paying off.
Now we go 62 and 56. All right.
We are back up
We're
to
down to
Brady
it.
once again.
Yeah.
At the 84 threshold, a bullseye will bring him right there, but an 18 will do just fine.
Single
Another
4.
4 and
And
another
another
single
4.
4. It almost breaks him to the 50.
Yeah,
but
that's
Chance
not a good round,
has
though.
the
Yeah, this-
possibility to pull this away.
Very big opening for
Sweep
Chance here.
the rug, or as Doc said at one point, sweep the leg from the rest of his competition.
Although
And he's
legs
going to
aren't-
hit the 2.
But this is the nice thing here. He doesn't bust. He can go for the 15, misses on
Missed.
that one.
Oh.
And misses again. That'll bring him down to 15. And he's still in a great position.
Yeah,
'Cause
he
even if he
didn't bust,
misses
though.
2 or 10, that's still good.
Yeah.
But here we go to Brady proper, trying to make up this point difference. Gets a 17 and a 15 there. Brings him down to 93.
Finally breaking into the double digits, but is he going to have enough time to get that scoreboard down to 0 as Jonas is going to bring it past the 50 threshold onto the 35? Within busting range of a few different numbers, but still very, very safe place to play it. Brady back up to throw some darts and brings it down to 28. A double 14 will put this away for him.
15, the needed score to end this, put an end to Brady's confidence. I mean, he's been the one who's been most confident, but one shot to a 13 would silence him. One shot to a 9 now, upper left.
As long as he doesn't
Oh, he finds it! Brady was the one who was all show, but meanwhile, we just saw just sneaking on down player 2.
And now Chance gets to say that he beat the guy who's practicing in here all the time.
Yeah, that's the ultimate.
All the overall good games all around. That
Now,
actually
what's
got
really
brought
surprising
down to
is
the
we
wire.
didn't see any busts there
No
in
busts.
the clothing.
Yeah, we saw a few misses, but honestly, you'd honestly rather miss than bust as long as you get 1, 2, sometimes even 3 points on the table.
Yep. Looks like we might be setting up a rematch here, but with 3 players. As Brady tries to regain his crown, but Chance has shown that he is not to be underestimated.
He is definitely – this is a David versus Goliath situation. Chance has not as much experience with the darts as Brady does, but at the same time, he still can bring it back and win, as he just proved in the last round.
He'll get
He's
the
going to
honor
be
of going first.
in
It
the
starts
row.
with a 2 whole points.
Hey, getting the bad luck out of the way early, and then he grabs the 18. He's going to miss the next one, but 20 points on the board is still a lot away from 0.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it's a long
big
ways
opening.
away from 60, but at the same
Oh,
time.
gets a 17. Next lands a 12. Everything. Oh, I was about to say everything above double digits, but I'll have to settle 268. Starting with the 9. And lands the bull for
bullseye.
50 and another
20.
20.
I think
Very good
Jonas
shot.
might be a dark horse in this race.
Yeah, Jonas, for that particular round, scoring basically almost 20 points per dart. Really impressive.
Especially in a game.
Oh,
like
triple
but a triple
18.
18. That is, let me do math real quick. That is better than a bullseye.
Triple 18 is, in fact, better than a bullseye. I think it's 54.
Yes, it is. I needed to count that on my fingers. I couldn't quite tell what that was. That's why I'm a communications major. Can't do math.
We wanted to avoid calculus as much as possible.
I had to do that in high school. I will say pre-calculus is way harder than regular calculus, though.
I could do trigonometry, but calculus, ugh.
Trigonometry made me not want to do engineering as a major.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Back to Chase.
Yep.
Chance, Chase, or Chance?
It's Chance.
How much of a chance does Chase have?
Oh, Chance has
Well,
quite the chance, but especially with that
with
20
the
being put on
19
the
and
board.
then the 20.
First to be brought down to the 100s. So he's got a pretty good
Yeah, he's
lead
been
here.
consistently getting the 20s, the 19s, a triple 18. Brady's still going for the 20, finds 1, but lands into the 1, and that
but the bullseye.
nice recovery.
He's going to
Nice
recover it just a
recovery.
little bit. Still wasn't able to break 200 though.
Okay, nice 20. And gets a 1.
Follows in Brady's footsteps with the 1,
And
but
he
the
just-
18 is going to break it.
Yeah, but you see, he continually kind of drifted farther to the right with each of his shots, and that's why it's just so punishing if you start getting inaccurate while aiming for the 20. He lands the triple 20, gets 60,
And then
follows
the
it up with a
triple
1. Triple 1, so up to 63 for this round. And another triple 20.
That is a lot of points in a little bit of time.
Whoa!
Man.
Chance!
He paid the bad shot tax, okay? He got
Yeah,
the
he
triple
did.
20. He had to get the 1 as a little bit of insurance, and then
Now
bang,
it's like I
once
don't know how many bowls Brady can pull off
Hey,
here.
no bulls were harmed in the making of this pre-show,
Okay, he's
but
down to 56.
ooh,
Nice
but the
double 20.
Unfortunately, misses it by a hair. It's just the risk you run when you play darts, especially for those double 20s.
Okay, sitting at 56.
You can't throw the triple 20 again.
Nope,
You've already
43. You could
used up
throw
your
a
magic.
double 20 and a 3.
Oh,
Brings
not
it down
anymore,
to
though.
38.
Ooh,
And a triple
four.
4 to bring it to 26. Basically halved his score there. Around, roughly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
But it didn't count. It did not count the dart.
No, yeah, but that still counts as a miss.
Even though it hit
Brady
I mean, it should count as 20.
fumbling
He hit
and
the 20.
stumbling. Yeah, he has to do the Vanna White touch there to register his shameful failure.
We should start a darts league.
He should.
That would be fun.
Oh, 25, and then a single 9
to close
puts him
things
down.
off.
But the big chance for Chase here.
I feel like we should do it like a golf commentator, like
Yeah,
where we
okay,
just
now
saw the
16.
10.
Oh,
10 comes
okay.
out on
No,
the
this is
field.
a safe number
16
that he can
left
aim
out,
for.
doesn't
Oh, he
look,
covers
and
his
hits the
eyes.
9.
He's down to 7.
A little bit of bravado in this one, but he does have a pretty bad. He's got a pretty weird shot here, but he busts. Got
Okay, you're not
too
doing a true
cocky.
golf voice. I can do a true golf voice. I have experiences. Brady steps up to the tee. Is going to fade just a bit right to left, but still manages to judge it just right to land the 20. Very nicely played.
Very nicely played indeed. And now Jonas is back up to bat, trying to get himself into the double digits, but unfortunately, he will not be able to break it quite yet. But there we go with the single 5, bringing it down to
That's
a
a pity.
93.
That is a real pity there. Not scoring too many points, whereas Chase with an opportunity to hole out. Only missed once here. He could very well be in birdie territory if he can just land. Double 12 or maybe a single 10 now. Single 10, but it's a little bit of, there's a 16 hazard down to the left. He's going to try to not even look.
He's going to try the no-looker from the side strategy, perfected by Happy Gilmore, and it's going to work out for him.
Down
with
to 2.
The 8. Down to 2.
Problem being down to score that low is that it really risks the bust opportunity, and he could throw away a lot of rounds for Brady to quickly build this back up, some 20s and an 18.
Yeah, building up 58 points in one round is nothing to scoff at. Jonas has a little bit of a ways to climb, but definitely not impossible. We've seen his ability to hit bullseyes in the past, but that single 1 is going to place him a little bit farther back than what we'd like.
Yeah, that one goes straight into the drink, only gets 1 point for that, and now he has to aim for the 2. Everything around it will be a hazard for him. And yeah,
the no-looker.
Boy, that doesn't work. What a surprise.
No-looker once again fails, but he hits the board this time. He's getting better at it.
Chase getting too carried away with his dart fame. I've seen it happen many and many a times.
This has happened to too many athletes to count, and it's going to end up with a bust.
It was a promising career, but
it was.
But then the ego took its toll.
The ego and unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Now double 12.
Double 12.
Okay, single 18. He's hit this.
Oh,
misses it. 1 left. The 17. That will be his. That will be the cup.
Although a very safe spot to be. Triple 1 is going to come out in the single 5. Not quite breaking 50, but there we go. Ending it off on a 48.
We get back to Chase. He's been on the green for a long time. He just needs to actually go for the cup. It's a downhill shot, slight break right to left.
This
doesn't even hit the golf ball there.
This green is pretty tricky.
That doesn't inspire confidence.
We've seen so many great golfers be tricked on this green. There's so much wind here. It blows the dart all over the place.
Okay, but here's the thing. It looks like we might have had a gentleman's agreement between all these players to try to hit it while not looking. And what I'm sure is a fun gentleman's agreement to them to try to change things up is instead a death sentence for everyone else involved, because we're going to be here all night if this is the case.
I mean, I'd imagine they'd get sick of it eventually. Everybody wants a winner, even the competitors. But a single 9 is going to bring Jonas down to 21, putting him back with the rest of the pack. Not quite in winning range. Actually, no, he is in winning range. 3 times 7 is 21. Your math fact for the day.
Okay, still going for the 12. Nope. Oh, that didn't. See, this is really fun to watch right here. Just
the attempt to do a no-looker golf shot. You know, it's going to be serious whiplash because we've been talking in the golfing voice forever, and then once Overwatch starts, we are going to be screaming.
I like it for once, actually, and not wearing out my voice.
That is true. But it does look like we are going to have to
All right, here we go. See, actions have consequences. Now we won't know who won because you had to get all showy with it. Okay, we're going on to Samoa now. The first hero band coming through. Ramatra on deck as the first band, so that means the other team has to choose either a DPS or a support.
Strider is free to Wrecking Ball on this map, and I'm sure he's going to be ready to ball out on any given map given the choice. And it'll be interesting to see who the next ban is, because we've seen a lot of different bans. We've seen the Sojourn quite a few times. There are a lot of characters in the meta right now that if you were to ban, it would be kind of detrimental. The ones I'm thinking of are Symmetra and Torbjorn. We talked about it a little bit last week, how they're sort of shaping the meta right now. We saw a little bit of the Symmetra last week out of Boise State. Not a game-breaking amount of Symmetra, but enough Symmetra to know that it is something in their map pool. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. And I mean, also, Diamond Dog is fairly frequent
Oh,
on
the
the Torbjorn, but it's
Tracer,
going to
though.
be the Tracer.
Which Clear, that was one of the main highlights that we saw last time. Clear was such a threat on the Tracer, got some insanely good flanks.
And Tracer, just as a character, is super threatening to the backline. Tracer is the new Sombra. I can get in and get out and not take any damage. But you know how we can all avoid taking damage is by following Doc's keys to the game.
Very
in
good.
Overwatch,
I'm the one who usually awkwardly transitions over to Doc's keys to the game, but you're taking that crown from me. I got to tip my hat to you on that one. But yes, Doc's keys to the game in Overwatch. It's never going to be never to take a fair fight. That means to take fights in unexpected places when your opponents are unprepared and try to build up as much tempo as you can get. Doc's keys to the game brought to you by Blue Ribbon Painting with over 90 years of combined experience. They're proud to be Boise's go-to team of local multi-generational painters who know exactly how to level up your house. If you're ready to transform your space, then visit blueribbonpainting.net to schedule a free estimate. All right, all set to go down to Samoa in this best of 5 for the final week of PEC competition, and Boise State having the chance to have a perfect regular season.
This is going to be a good game. I mean, just looking at the scoreboard, you may not be able to tell, but the Buckeyes have been known to really ramp up at the end of the season. We saw it at the end of the fall semester. I'm sure we're going to see it again now. And honestly, Samoa, underrated control point map, in my opinion. It's got such a wide variety of places you can go. It's one of those maps that has so many different lanes of attack. And, I mean, even with Tracer banned, you can still see a lot of dive shenanigans, even though there's a ton of tight spaces, and it's really fun to watch play.
Well, Boise State now ready to load on in. We see up on the stage. Also, opening lineup you can bring to us, Bryce.
Yeah, so I asked 2 different players what the opening lineup was, and I don't think we were 100% certain on who exactly was playing, but I'll give you the most recent one. It was Strider, Hex, Daydream, Lyric, and Clear. But there's a chance that Lyric might be swapped out for Maxwell, who was also said to be a starter.
Well,
but I
and
guess
that's what we were
going
talking
to be
about
finding
with Maxwell on the Soj, yeah. I mean, that might just be too good of a choice to pass up. Off we go down to Samoa as Boise State looks to end their PEC season on a positive note. We go looking at all the 3 different sub-maps that we could be starting out on. Boise State, I mean, it really says something to how good they've been playing this season that the match against Kansas last week was the closest it's gotten because it was a 3-1.
Yeah. Actually, looking at the scoreboards, I was actually wrong. They dropped another map earlier in the season. But still, having only 2 map drops on your record going through is incredible.
You know, I have rarely seen this particular sub-stage because Boise State usually wins their controls 2-0, and so we've never gotten to this one, and it's just worked out for the RNG. The game has never really shown it. But off we go. Time to bring in the classic video game lava and see which team will inevitably fall down into it.
Is it going to be Malga, his home turf? But no, Boise State is going to be embracing the Zarya and playing it a little bit more, but we are going to see out of King Donut. Ariam is going to find a kill on Strider. King Donut taking the advantage of it, taking out Hex, and Mooney's going to finish it out. And, you know, I kind of said Malga as a joke since they're both since like Malga was introduced in this map. But he is a good pick. You just stand there and deal a ton of damage, and I think Strider has taken the hint and is going to be playing Malga as well for the foreseeable future.
We also got one of his new perks is that he can ignite enemies that he charges into, so I mean, if the lava wasn't hot enough, things are really going to get spicy as we go on. But Donut is taken out by Maxwell. That's a huge pick for the Broncos, so now going after the 4. Clear manages to pick up the elimination against Monkey, and Lau will be the next. Boise State taking back the control point.
Yeah, Ohio State has done a really good job and is kind of known for being one of those faster-paced teams. We've seen it with the Lucio. They play this game super fast and brawly, and we've seen it so far. Out comes the Kitsune Rush to no luck. Lau is going to be taken out. Same with Aria. Monkey is going to find one on Maxwell, and Strider's going to be forced out on 10 HP, and he's going to go down to the King Donut burn. What a pick out of Ohio State, but Clear is still walking around in the back line. Can he find it on King Donut? Out comes the teleport, and he finds it with the Blossom up for grabs. I doubt he's going to use it here, but with all the supports right there, he uses it, and Lau takes him out in the middle of it. Boise State continues on the point. Strider is back. Hex manages to get back. Monkey uses his ult, but Hex finds 2, and it's going to close out Ohio State's push. What a second fight out of Ohio.
Just about everyone has their minor perks online. You can see Maxo's gone for that extended clip, giving him a whopping 60 bullets he can shoot before reloading. Right now trying to focus things down on Donut, who brings out the cage fight, and we'll also see the sound barrier from the Buckeyes to try to keep him alive. But Boise State uses the rally in response. Clear gets the final hit onto King Donut. Monkey is next, and as the front line crumbles, the back line can only run back to spawn and try to fight another day.
Yeah, that's the big issue with these Malga comps. You rely so much on that Malga to take that space, to hold it, to just deal so much damage. And when you have a character like Reaper assisting Strider, who already has an obscene amount of damage on the Malga, you don't really have any sustainability once he dies. And Strider is going to make sure Monkey finds that out the hard way with a hard engage, and the orbital ray comes out, but the rest of the Buckeyes are rotating around. 4 of them on point, but without the assistance of Lau, it's going to be a little bit harder to keep that Malga up. Out comes the overclock from Aram, but it's not going to find anything but Maxwell. Bold Sojourns are traded, but Lucio, with a hero attempt, is not going to find his way in. It looks like Lau is back with the Kiriko, but it is not enough. King Donut isn't able to get there, and Boise State manages to close this one out. I don't know if you caught that, but the Buckeyes were this close to getting there too.
I mean, it was a really good opportunity. Boise State went into that final fight with no ultimates, but this was really the major turning point. Aram, I mean, very crucially decided to hold on to the overclock here. And, you know, in terms of shoulda, woulda, coulda, you know, you have to wonder if maybe bringing that fight back would have helped Ohio State. But Boise State will get one in their pocket. Now just need one more win to claim it and then move on to hybrid.
And on this map, it can be pretty easy to snowball a win, too. With how many close quarters, if we continue to see the Malga picks, it is going to be an all-out brawl in the middle. Of course, it's not going to be with the Reinhardt like most of you would expect. It would be with a large Samoan man with 2 machine guns. And Clear is going to make the swap over to the Sombra, and Strider is back on ball.
Oh,
King
here we
Donut
go.
might just have a
my
field day,
goodness,
but Lau is going to get taken out early, and so is Mooney on the brig.
You can't do this!
Oh, a violation of King Donut's backline, and Oram is going to find his on Clear, but it might just be too little too late. Daydream finds the final pick on Clear, and the first capture is going to go to Boise State.
Also, what's going to be very interesting is can Maxwell hit those disruptor shots, because he's got his major on, which will allow it to stick to enemies and charge up his railgun with the damage it deals. So he wants to be right-clicking as much as possible with his abilities. We'll see if he has it all lined up.
Yeah, Oram opting for the larger railgun capacity, which changes a ton of breakpoints, but Mooney is going to go down to a Clear Strider dive. That is a huge source of speed away, and King Donut is too far in the back line for anyone to heal. Lau is going to get the pick on Strider, but Aram is going to go down to Clear. Maxwell trying to force King Donut off the point, but Lau is going to get there just in time to save him, and Maxwell is not going to have enough time to get that out. Strider once again showing why ball is such a good pick, getting back to the point, but not before Hex goes down. Luckily, Daydream manages to get out of it alive, and Mooney and Lau are on the run, but unfortunately for them, Monkey and Aram are trying to take the point, but 2 is not going to be enough.
Off we move, Clear, just scouting things out even more, trying to get in the heads of the Buckeyes, because ever since Strider has gone with this super, you know, just divey composition, Ohio State hasn't been able to fight as a team. They've been scattered all around, and now he's waiting with his minefield over the choke. This is going to be nasty.
Oh yes, the old Christmas ornament strategy. Wait for the back line to push out and punish. They're just sitting there. Strider probably knows they're there too. King Donut pretty much has free reign over the whole line since there is no tank. But the second they go out comes Strider, and Mooney goes down before the beat comes out. Oh wait, no, he didn't use it. It just looked like he did. But the Kitsune Rush does come out to no avail. Maxwell finds the pick on Mooney, or Monkey, not Mooney. And Lau is going to find themselves trying to get away, and they are going to do it. Swift Step is a great ability, but too little, too late. No one touches the point. Boise State takes their first map.
Yeah, it seemed like everything just really fell apart for the Buckeyes. I mean, the greatest sense, in that second map, the greatest sense that we got of kind of like team coordination was their Kriko was able to Suzu their tank to be able to keep them alive a little bit longer. But if one Suzu is the full extent of how well your team is working together, you need to have some serious discussions between these two rounds on how you're working as a unit.
You know, I feel like there were a lot of maybe miscommunications. I think the team would have played a lot better if King Donut wasn't running around having adventures in Boise State's backline. Mauga can support himself fairly easily with the use of Cardiac Overdrive, but without a really big character to shoot at, like another tank, it makes it really hard for him to really get that extra overhealing that he needs to keep himself up. And when you're only shooting at small targets, you're going to miss most of them. And then you leave your entire backline open with a Kiriko Lucio composition. While it is an incredibly strong healing composition and it allows you to play super fast, you don't exactly have the sustain against dive that a character like Brig would give you.
All right, we have the first round down and in the books. Boise State picks up a win on that one. Now the question will be which map is chosen and which two heroes are banned as the map choice goes over to Ohio State. I have been so pleasantly surprised, though, in the past few weeks on how much we have been seeing Blizzard World in hybrid. But since it's not the Broncos' decision, I think we might be going back to complacency tonight.
You know, I love Blizzard World and all, and I'm really glad when we see it, but I think it's time to shake it up once again. We've seen a lot of Kings Row. We've seen a lot of Blizzard World now. I think we need a Numbani in there.
Yeah,
I think that would be fun.
But here's the thing. You got such pronounced high ground going up to the first point there. Are you really wanting to tempt fate of, like, Boise State's DPSs like Maxwell, who could just, you know, with a character like a Sojourn, like an Ashe, who could just rain so much damage down from above?
But wait.
That's such a scary thought.
Hear me out. It would be funny.
It would be funny for us, but, I mean, we're talking about who do you choose from Ohio State's perspective.
You know, when you put it like that, with being already one down, I would think you'd pick the Kings Row. It's just kind of the plain Jane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say vanilla because contrary to popular belief, vanilla is not a boring flavor. It is not basic. It is great.
There's a reason that you only use a teaspoon of it in every recipe because it's a strong flavor.
It is a strong flavor, but Kings Row is kind of the I don't know what I'm going to do, so let's play Kings Row.
That's a good point.
It is the standard, I should say, for a hybrid.
Also, because when I think of other options such as Eichenwald, you got such a pronounced choke point on that initial archway.
Yeah, you have the S curve, and then you have to push through.
You got to move
corridor.
as a team when you're pushing through that, and I didn't see. I wouldn't think, from what I saw in the first round, I don't think Ohio State would have been up to that task. If they can't get it together, we have seen slow starts before, maybe things turn around. But Boise State has to win on Samoa. We will be going back to complacency on Kings Row.
Kings Row, people say that it's we see it a lot. You get burnt out by it, but I will say Kings Row is always kind of fun to watch. It's one of the more pretty maps. It's been around since Overwatch 1. It's got a lot of nostalgia behind it. But knowing what we know now about both of the teams, it was a Ramatra Tracer ban for the first time. Do you think we might see a Mauga ban out of Kings Row? Nope, we're going to see a Torbjorn ban out of Kings Row.
Ooh. And
that's going to hurt. Ohio State a lot more than it's going to hurt Boise.
Yeah, and it leaves the Sojourn open for Maxwell as well. Yeah. Sojourn has been a ban on Kings Row in the past few weeks just because he's able to do so much with that character. So to ban that right off of the gate, now we just have to choose between a tank or support to take out of the equation. And, Rhine or Brig, I mean, both of them, Kings Row does lend itself to some really brawly gameplay. Both of them could be on the option.
We might see a ban on Mauga. It is still a big possibility. We know King Donut is very comfortable on the Mauga. and we're just going to have to wait and see.
All right. Well, Boise State currently has the one-round lead in this best of 5. It is, in fact, a Malga pick. We have gotten the word. So Malga is banned. But, yeah, I mean, that just you can choose so many other tanks in Kings Row. And I mean, it's a very good pick onto Ohio State. It takes him off of his most favorite pick. But then you get, and this is the catch-22 we've been talking about all season with just one hero band. Then you just go to what's meta.
Yeah, but maybe meta won't lend itself to Kings Row. We've seen a lot of stuff come out of it, but we're just going to have to see how this game plays out. Game 2, Boise State versus Ohio State. Boise State leading 1-0 going into map 2.
Off we go down to Kings Row, the old classic nighttime setting. We look over the initial plaza, over one of the more hard first stages to hold on defense. Boise State, since they didn't choose this map, they will choose which side they go on first, and that usually means the Broncos choose to defend first. And if they are in blue, just like they were last round, I think that's a very wise, conservative choice by them.
And they're actually going to be rolling out on the Junker Queen.
Oh.
I haven't seen that a lot out of Strider this season, but we do know that Junker Queen is one of the favorite picks of the Broncos. You can do so much stuff, especially with the Lucio speed boost that's given to you as well. Just such a brawly tank that can deal so much damage. And that's not even counting the fact that Junker Queen is one of 3 tanks that can heal herself.
Yeah, heal herself, heal others.
Yeah, heal herself, and she can't heal others, but she can give over health.
Good give over health, you know.
I mean, actually,
and with the new perks can give even more support, increasing the reload speed. Carnage gets lifesteal added on top of that. I mean, if you thought Junker Queen was a sustaining tank before.
So it's actually going to be Boise State on attack.
Oh, okay.
I was confused. I was like, Lau doesn't play for Boise State, but it does look like
they have
Suzu is
changed
going to come out a
colors,
little bit early, but the anti is going to come out on King Donut. Not a lot of use by the Broncos, but both of them are actually mirrored on the Junker Queen. And Daydream is actually on the Mercy pick, something that we've seen a little bit out of her in the past, but isn't typically a super well-played character. But I guess when you're pocketing Maxwell on the Sojourn, anything is possible. Boise State manages to get a player onto the point, try and cap, but he is quickly forced off by Monkey on the Farah this time.
I am curious. I am going to be curious to see what perks Daydream chooses. But as for right now, Hex gets the first blood of the fight onto Aram. And then we also get Strider. The anti onto King Donut. Monkey soon follows. And Boise State will most definitely get the payload after that, especially if they can get the stagger. Oh, the Kiriko just is able to step away.
Whiffed the T on that one. You hit the T instead of the ball there, Strider. You gotta aim a little bit higher than that.
I was not expecting you to still be bringing out the golfing references. I'm ready to move on.
I was thinking T-ball. Because like Carnage looks like a bat, you gotta hit the T.
Okay, I get what you're saying, but you gotta admit, Anyway, on to this fight. Boise State ready to go through the choke point. Right now, King Donut is trying to push up to this archway, trying to prevent Boise State from claiming any free ground, but already they're moving their way in with the overclock. Kitsune Rush brought out by Ohio State, and Mooney lands the boop onto Maxwell. Up next, we have got King Donut looking for some revenge here, trying to pick off Clear, who's so low on health and cannot get away. We'll see the res onto Maxwell. But Boise State is just hanging on here. Thing is, though, since the fight's been all over the place, the payload has still been pushing forward.
Yeah, that's the problem with those all-over-the-place fights. You allow that card to get pushed, and while Maxwell did go down in the end, it allowed for the rest of his team to push it just that little bit farther. Although Daydream doesn't have a res to work with, which opens up a few more doors for Ohio State to pull down down the next fight. But it does look like Clear is going to get caught up by the Farah. First pick of the team fight is going to go to Monkey. Out comes the Rampage from Strider. It's not going to find anything except for Mooney, but Lau with a pick on Hex and Clear already down. Strider in the backline with the self-sustain, but Monkey is going to finish him off. Dragon Strike does come out trying to force him off the point, but to no avail. Although I will say there are no supports, so it could be Boise State has a chance to pull this one out from under Ohio State's heels.
Right, Right now, Maxwell going to dive in, trying to claim some high ground, throws out Disruptor shot, just trying to close all possible escape routes for his target. Orem cannot get away. Now he's looking for his next one. He's got his eyes set on King Donut, who moves on back to fight with the team. Railgun shot charged up. We see the Rampage moving in. Boise State gets canceled, but the beat is also canceled as well on Ohio State's side. But it's kind of they both lost a whole lot of sustainability by everyone getting hit by the Rampage, but also the beat canceled. In the end, though, it's kind of the rule of he who ults first, and Boise State just couldn't really recover from getting hit with the Rampage so early.
Nope, Strider was able to get out of there, though. That's a lot of ult charge away from some players on Ohio State who might really need it. And Clear is going to swap over to the Genji, with Hex and Daydream also making the swap to a Kiriko Lucio setup. King Donut getting some early damage on the Junker Queen. Really good to build ult charge that night. But out comes the Kitsune Rush from inside the corridor. Strider going to get forced off with a ton of damage, but it's just so easily kited by Boise State. That angle is really good if you're able to push the other team to a good spot, but if you can't use it, it's almost wasted.
Look out for the Disruptor shot now from Maxwell. That can stick. Now he's got that perk unlocked. Of course, just shooting and using the railgun will work in a pinch as well. Orem just hanging on and cannot get away from Maxwell, who now has the double to his name as an overclock now online, but won't get too greedy with it. Will just allow the Broncos to take their W and get very close to this checkpoint now.
Yeah, both Orem and Maxwell have overclocks online, but Strider also has his Rampage as well. King Donut is barely halfway, and he's going to go down to the overclock. Looks like Strider is going to be pushing out with a little bit of help from Clear, and Orem's going to be taken down to 80 health, forced to push back into his own spawn, and Boise State is going to take the corner. That is a very infamous S-curve that is not very easy to take, and the fact that Boise State is able to capture that much territory that easily, Maxwell is going to take a lot of damage, but he is able to get out with Power Slide. King Donut trying to make a pressured play, and Strider is able to pull him out of the cover, but he's brought right back in and is able to be saved by the rest of his team. Tons of damage being brought on, but King Donut's also being put in a bad spot. Strider goes down, and Lau finds Maxwell as well. Oh, King Donut finds it before going down himself to Lau. He got his one in the end, even though it was lost. A boot kill from Lucio is always fun to see.
If you're going to get your one in the face of defeat, that's the one to do. Boise State, though, still having over 2 minutes. Strider very close to having his major perk online. Maxwell gets rid of Mooney. Now Ohio State's backline, only one support going, but Orem fights back, getting rid of Maxwell, and that's a whole lot of damage gone from Boise State.
And Clear goes down as well. That's another big player, and King Donut's going to find Strider as well and force the rest of Boise State off the point.
Okay, here's the thing, though. Both of these Junker Queens are going to have their Rampage available both at the same time, where it's going to have lifesteal on them as well due to the perks.
And both Lucios have beat as well.
And this is going to be the most long, drawn-out, sustaining fight. And here we go. It starts out. And no Rampage for Ohio State as Maxwell takes King Donut out with the railgun. And now it's going to overclock, get the pick onto Monkey as well. Boise State rounds through that S-curve and now just has a short way to go before being able to go into the final parking spot. Will Strider go out? Oh, we see one Rampage goes out onto a bunch of Boise State. They'll have to use the sound barrier to survive. Now they bring things back out with their Kitsune Rush and their Dragon Blade, tearing right into the back line of Ohio State, getting rid of their supports. The front line follows soon afterwards with Daydream getting rid of King Donut, and Boise State has all 3 possible points that they could have gotten.
You know, it's an old Lucio saying, he who beats second is probably going to win the team fight. And I mean, I think that Ohio State could have held on to that if they would have just held the beat for Strider's Rampage. But in the end, it all comes down to that split-second decision of, is it time? But of course, when you get 360 no-scoped by the overclock, it makes it a little bit harder. It doesn't really matter if your barrage can move if you move right into a railgun shot.
Boise State gets the full 3 points. Now it will be Ohio State be their turn to attack. See how much they can run up.
Ready for battle.
The thing is, though, since Boise State was taken, they got to the final point below 1 minute. So depending on things going, we could have an extra minute added to both teams' time here. Go into overtime. Boise State wants to prevent that from happening.
And you know, that minute can really be the difference maker. It's another minute of intense, high-octane gameplay, and when you're playing on Wrecking Ball like Strider is now, every single second counts. You want to wear down that team's resolve to fight. You want to just take down their supports over and over and over again, and every single second will count in this defense for the Broncos.
5, 4, 3.
But it does look like we're going to be sticking with the Junker Queen on the side of the Buckeyes, too.
Bringing out an Echo for the first time of this match from Ohio State.
Oh, no, that's
from the Broncos,
Maxwell.
excuse me. Yeah, Maxwell.
Maxwell not choosing the hit scan character, which is not something we see super often, but with Echo, it can work with the beam being able to track. And King Donut's going to push in and get melted in the hotel lobby. Unfortunate. The swift step comes out of Kiriko, allowing for Lau to get away. But with Monkey and King Donut dying so early on in the fight, it is not exactly a great spot. I will say, Echo is really good into Junker Queen, because what does it matter if you can heal yourself if you die in 3 seconds?
Clear just trying to find a target long range. It's going to coordinate with Strider to go into the back line. Lau is trying to hold on, but will survive. So Strider has to move on back. Try to plan his next move. Will go on up to the upper deck of Theater. Has his eye on the back line again. Pile drives down. Clear is able to pick out Mooney this time. And the disruptor shot is also thrown out, trying to knock Boise State away from the team core, but they just waited on out. Clear picks up King Donut, and now without that tank yet again, it's going to be a reset for Ohio State.
Although Maxwell and Hex were both taken out in that exchange, they didn't end up winning the team fight as a whole, but with Clear caught out, that might be a really big advantage. And out comes the Roadhog from King Donut, and it is going to be enough to take out Clear. That hook might just be what Ohio State needs to get rid of Strider on the Wrecking Ball.
Boise State has to move back on toward the point. Strider still looking into the back line. Power drives down. Very important ultimate with his minefield. He is so deadly using this and knocking opponents into those mines. He's just going to wait until he feels he truly needs to use it. And he didn't feel it was right there and got taken out as a result. King Donut misses his hook, and now Boise State, still there's enough of them alive that they can re-hit this point if they want to.
Yeah, but with Daydream going down to a swift strike from the Genji, Clear is going to be have to be the one to take. And with Recall on the table, out comes the minefield once again, and Lau is going to die before getting used to the Kitsune Rush. Maxwell duplicating the Sojourn back to his favorite character. Beat comes out trying to keep King Donut alive, but is it going to be enough? With Maxwell on the high ground, no, it is not.
Didn't
Clear
even hit.
Is going to find him.
Yeah, that beat didn't even hit it. I think it only went on to Mooney. An unfortunate whiff, and Boise State with a great recovery gets rid of Monkey and Lau, and that'll be another reset for the Buckeyes as they're closing in on their final minute.
Another niche pick from one of these teams being the Roadhog. In theory, it should work, but when your backline goes down so fast, it just doesn't matter how much damage you can do to the Wrecking Ball. Looking around, trying to find Strider. He is the ghost in the shell, per se, but he's in the back. The second that he pushed out, his team was dead. Out comes the blade from Monkey. Is it going to find anything? King Donut is going to find Maxwell, but no. Out goes down, and Arum is going to go down as well, and nothing comes out of the blade. King Donut has his ult, though. You never know. Scrap Gun, it's an underrated ult. I'll say that.
Slowly moving around, but he doesn't have his team really to back him up. He's got to wait until they're ready, and that's a huge pick on the Daydream in the back line as Lau opens something up for the Buckeyes. Strider tries to move in. Hex gets the pick onto Lau, and that beat hits a good amount of Boise State. Clear and Maxwell trying to hang on there. Clear having a pulse bomb. Hex gets another melee against Arum. Strider pile drives down on into Mooney, and Ohio State, their final stand, just crumbles beneath them. They will not be able to even get a single point on Kings Row. Boise State takes it.
They might have gotten a pick on Daydream, but the immediate pick on Lau was, I think, what secured it. We know how good Kiriko's healing is, especially with her damage output as well, and being able to take both of those huge healers off of the board, it makes it really hard to come back out. And of course, you can't really downplay Maxwell's play either. Just being able to shred.
I think that was it. That won it on their attack push. we were all kind of playing this game of, oh, they have the Rampage, they have the Beat, they got so much to sustain them.
What
and
option
Max,
will they use?
And Maxwell just right-clicks to take that off the table for Ohio State. The match was over when that happened.
The point-and-click adventure game really started when Maxwell pushed Q.
That is true. That is true. That's an interesting thought, turning Overwatch into a point-and-click adventure
Well, I
game.
mean, it depends on who you're playing. I mean, you have Symmetra, who's just a beam character. It's pretty much like wherever you point, you deal damage. You got
that's a point-and-trackpad game.
Yeah. Oh, it's like Osu.
Yeah.
You gotta practice on Osu before you can play Symmetra competitively.
There you go. Okay, we're ready to move on to the third and possibly a final map. Boise State sits up 2-0. One last chance for Ohio State to bring out something unexpected. The mode is push. But before we get to that, we want to give one quick shout out to local dairy farm families who are proud fueling partners of Boise State esports. Dairy foods provide the protein to rebuild, the hydration to recover, and the natural electrolytes to replenish post-activity. Fuel your greatness with dairy. I also want to say this right now, because if I don't say it right now, I'm going to forget it for the rest of the broadcast. And I just got to shout out Ohio State for having a nice creative user tag. I do like Orem very much as a user tag. That is the Latin word for gold.
Huh.
That is why, have you ever looked at the periodic table and wondered why gold was AU? That didn't make any sense, because it's named after the Latin names of, I think that's the same for lead too, PB, because it's used for plumbing. They use that for plumbing. Yeah. So there you go. There's your little bit of useless trivia for the day. Something a little bit more pertinent to the match at hand is that we are going on to New Queen Street the first time we're seeing it in the very last week. It took long enough, but here it is.
And, you know, maybe we'll see. We're going to have to see. Is Ohio State going to respect the Wrecking Ball ban? I mean, we saw how good Strider was on the Junker Queen. We saw how good he was on the Mauga. We didn't see too much Zarya. The bubbles got shredded too fast to really play into Mauga really well. But are they going to ban Wrecking Ball? I mean, New Queen Street is kind of notoriously one of Wrecking Ball's favored maps, along with all of the all the push maps are really favored by Wrecking Ball players. And it'll be interesting to see if they respect it or are going to be like, you know what? We're good. We'll beat you this time. We'll bring out the Roadhog again.
Both teams just thinking over their final options before the ban goes through. I mean, the Wrecking Ball could be there. I mean, New Queen Street also was just an incredibly tough push map to be able to claim completely.
And they are going to respect the Wrecking
Ball pick, as well as the Kuriko, who has been a mainstay in the backlines for the first two rounds. Not so for round 3.
Yeah, I will say, though, Ohio is way more willing to use the Kiriko than Boise State is. We only saw it in the last round, but we're going to have to see how strategies evolve going into what could be the final map of regulation PEC Overwatch. Boise State versus the Buckeyes. Boise State leading 2-0.
It could all end here. Boise State gearing up on New Queen Street. Ohio State throwing this one out as their Hail Mary. Maybe they can bring the match back, but it's got to be the start of a reverse sweep.
Hey, I mean, it's not impossible. We've seen cracks in Boise State's armor before. I'm not sure if they have a really good blacksmith to fill them up really fast or if they're just painted over, but if the Buckeyes can find their way into those cracks, make themselves known, find ways to exploit them. We've seen how good a lot of teams are at splitting off Boise State from its backline, playing that Wrecking Ball composition, and just overall playing dive compositions and sort of splitting yourself. If we see something like that, we might just see a Buckeyes sweep.
Objective unlocks in 30 seconds.
All right, gates open. Robot unlocks in 30 seconds. Here we go. Boise State and Ohio State having their final stand here in the PEC. Boise looking to cap things off with a perfect season. We see Maxwell swapping on over to the Bastion. This will be interesting to watch as Diamond Dog has decided to take up the mantle of Sojourn, but Orem is going to say, I've been playing this one a bit longer. I am going to right-click you out of existence. Can Boise State recover from that first blood? Clear down to half health. A lot of pressure being placed out by the Buckeyes. Clear cannot hold on in the face of King Donut. It looks like Ohio State might be getting this robot first.
Yeah, I will say though, the swap from Strider to Clear as the tank pick is definitely interesting, but I guess with Wrecking Ball off the table, it is a good pick indeed. But King Donut is going to be able to finish out the fight. Maxwell isn't able to pick anybody off in the end there.
Look at his charge, though. He is already at 90%.
Yeah, I mean, Bastion does so much damage. You can have his ult so often. And, I mean, it isn't the greatest ult in the game, but it is still an ult in the game, so it's nice to have at all times. And it's interesting to see how King Donut's playing into the Junker Queen. He really has to respect the amount of damage that Junker Queen can do, but also Junker Queen has to respect him as well. But unfortunately, not too much respect was given to the Brig, and Clear is just going to walk all over the backline. Out comes the artillery barrage onto the supports in the backline. Orbital Ray comes out to sustain, and Hex is going to go down in it. Lau with the Orbital Ray is going to be able to take out Clear, as Maxwell is going to stop it pushing and take out Lau right before getting the health they need. That was an unfortunate pick on the side of the Buckeyes, but Maxwell sitting in a really good spot, but that Sim turret is looking to ruin his day.
King Donut looking around the corner, still in neutral area. Maxwell, oh nice, he able to jump up to the upper level, try to rain down bullets from above. So as this grenade back online, we'll throw that out, and it helps to take out two of the Buckeyes, Orm and Monkey, both biting the dust. Clear lands a knife into Mooney as well, and Boise State is now into enemy territory, slowly pushing up to get past 51 meters.
Yeah, and Maxwell is almost up to artillery barrage once again. Once King Donut has Cage out, that is a really dangerous ult to have your enemy have. Especially because you are locked to one spot and each one does so much damage. Out comes the Cage, but nobody is there to really follow up. Out comes the Orbital Ray, but Aurum is going to find the pick on Daydream. The artillery barrage does find Aurum, and it is trades back and forth. Hex finding Mooney. King Donut falls in the end with ults being traded, and it is all up to Monkey to stop this point in its tracks, and he is not going to be enough. Clear is able to finish things up. And I think Lau is going to find an unfortunate stagger here, but nope, they actually managed to find a way out.
Boise State now picks up the forward spawns, has two ultimates in their pocket, as does Ohio State. Trying to move through as Boise State starts with the rally, and Orem is taken out. The overclock is offline. Photon barrier spent by Ohio State. They cannot bring things back. Maxwell gets King Donut. Mooney and Lau follow soon afterwards. The backline gone. There's not really much Monkey can do, and it's another team wipe for Boise State.
Yeah, just unfortunate placement for Ohio. And yeah, the Orbital Ray didn't come out of Lau, which it might have saved them in the end, but it might have been a better thing. It might have been good for them to save it, but Lau is going to go down once again before being able to use Ray. Monkey left on 1 health and goes down to Carnage, and King Donut soon to follow. Arum, the only one left still alive, manages to get the pick on Daydream, but goes back to their spawn before anything too bad can happen.
This is a really big pickle here because Maxwell was brought out as major perk. He's changed the artillery configuration to fire those explosive shells, which can just ignite Ohio State, as well as the Rampage. There's just so much damage, both active and passive being pushed up. But we see a hero play coming through from King Donut, trying to pressure down Diamond Dog. Diamond Dog will be able to take one out. She gets dived on, so Boise State still with the possibility, though, with Clear, might just be pushing the robot by himself.
Just takes out one, but at what cost?
I mean, hey, if it's to possibly, oh, nope. I mean, still, that's about as close as you can get.
Yeah, it's really close. If you would have just stuck on there, that might have spelled the end for Ohio. King Donut looking really close with that Cage. And now that Lau has Orbital Ray, it is really easy. It'll be easy for him to sustain it with all the damage that'll be brought towards him to hopefully end that Cage early. Monkey taking his first pick of the match, but is it going to be enough for the rest of Ohio State to get through? King Donut is just getting chunked down with his health, but out comes the Orbital Ray, and it's going to take out Clear. just a full-on dive out of a brawly composition is going to be taking out the tank. Daydream soon to follow with no support from Hex, who also went down earlier. Diamond Dog as well, and Ohio State gets their second team fight win.
King Donut also takes out Maxwell. It'll be a hefty reset for Boise State and give Ohio State a lot of time to narrow down this lead the Broncos have built up for themselves. Boise State only having one ultimate, the orbital ray, still a powerful one. Ohio State, they're going to have this cage fight.
Ooh, dove on. Orium almost taken out with a really good engagement from Boise State, but just so much movement, he can't really get close. Diamond Dog on the Sojourn, seeing if he can find a pick here. Nothing quite to get, but the cage does come out along with the orbital ray. Junker Queen trying to keep everybody up, but the rally comes out to hopefully help. X, Diamond Dog, Axel, and Clear pull team wipe out of Boise State. But that is Mooney's rally off the table. Daydream, unfortunately, Rayjacks during that last fight. And Lau is 50% to their ultimate as well.
Clear having the Rampage just coming online for this fight. Maxwell swapped on over to the Pharah. Off we go. Boise State dives in with the Rampage, hits Mooney and Orem, and they both go down back to back. Monkey still staying alive with that Dragon Blade, trying to deal damage. Boise State's DPS, they've gotten rid of both of them. Can the tank and supports come through for the Broncos? Daydream finds one with the Pulsar cannons. Monkey eliminates Daydream. Clear, though, standing like a rock, not allowing Ohio State to take the lead away from the Broncos.
You know, they say Australians are tough, but they must be even tougher in 2077 when Overwatch is set, because, wow, pretty much just full-on tanking everything that the game is throwing.
In Overwatch lore, it's like heavily irradiated, so you can add that to the long list of things that try to kill you in Australia.
Yeah, Lau getting taken down fairly low, but is able to sustain. Out comes the orbital ray a little bit early, but the Brig with the rally is able to keep their team alive, but not Daybreak and Maxwell, who go down to the overclock. King Donut finds Hex, and Clear is unfortunately taken out by Mooney before anything's found off of it. But the stick from the disruptor shot is seen on King Donut, who actually has his cage once again already.
Forward spawn back online for Ohio State. Buckeyes are only going to have this cage fight, but maybe Boise State. I mean, it's going to be... Oh, turns and it goes right on to King Donut, the Rampage. Onto Donut, Orem, and Monkey. Orem is already eliminated, but Lau and King Donut are getting rid of Hex and Daydream. There's no support now for the Broncos, and the rest of the team soon follows. Clear, trying to buy some time for his team, taking the robot back from under the Buckeyes' feet, and managing to pick up 2 ultimates on top of that. He gets both supports for the Buckeyes, and now Boise State has enough time to respawn. That's Monkey! Oh my goodness! He single-handedly saved the Broncos.
Yeah, definitely he definitely saved that team fight in particular. That was looking pretty grim, but Maxwell finding the pick on Orem is going to help them push it a little bit farther. Forward spawn is off the table for the Buckeyes going into this next team fight. Maxwell trying to find a pretty good pick off that left side. Nothing's quite found just yet. But with the Pharah having Barrage, as long as he doesn't get picked off by Monkey's deflect, which he's used, but out comes the Barrage, and nothing is found off of it, just a little too high up. But King Donut ends up going down to Diamond Dog in the end. Looks like Maxwell's trying to pressure out their supports, nothing is found, and Lau is left in a very odd position inside forward spawn, and Maxwell is going to find the pick in the end. Mooney taking tons of damage is going to end up falling. Clear pushing it forward, and it is just King Donut left on this point. Whoa! Anti-solo ult. That is not going to spell very long life. Both the orbital rays are being traded out, and the Dragon Blade comes out as well. Nothing is found with any of them. Mooney and Lau both finding picks. Maxwell finds it on Lau, and Orem takes out Maxwell, taking out the last Broncos push. Overtime sets in, and Ohio State has a chance to bring this one back.
Oh, Hex, okay, just decides to kind of get that stagger out of the way. Didn't want to put too heavy a one onto the Broncos because they could possibly here have 2 team fights. They've already respawned, so they could have one here in mid, and then if they lose that one, have one closer to their spawn.
Aram, the closest out of anybody to ults, already has overclock on the board. That is a significant advantage going into final fight territory. But it's not gonna matter. He's gone, and Maxwell goes down very soon after to Lau. But Clear is trying to find something on the top here. Nothing comes out of it though. From the looks of things, Lau is extended a little bit past his team, and bye-bye Monkey. Clear is going to run him down.
But there is still 3 left on the robot. Boise State trying to rush on back to get there as the Ohio State goes above 100 meters. They bring out the barrage and the overclock, but I don't see anyone taken out by it. And overclock's being traded back and forth as Clear picks off King Donut. Hex hanging on by a thread. Aura falls to Clear's knife, and Clear once again comes through for the Broncos to win it on New Queen Street.
Talk about a brick wall. Normally when you think of a brick wall, you think of Mauga just being this hulking bag of muscles, but no, apparently it's the Junker Queen in your backline who is going to prevent you from getting that reverse sweep. What a invigorating final round.
Also talking about, though, shouting out a very deadly Skork Lau consistently showing up on that elimination feed. Almost, I mean, with that combined team effort, made Ohio State win in push.
Man, I got to catch my breath a little bit after that.
Yeah, that was an exciting one.
Those last 2 pushes.
Could that have been a more exciting end to the PEC regular season?
You know, it would have been even more exciting if every map was like that.
That would have been true, but I mean, still, that was, come on, you got to give that particular round.
I have to give Ohio State a ton of credit. Congratulations to Boise State for the 3-0 win, but the fact that your supports were consistently on the kill feed, I mean, even if your tank goes down, it doesn't matter if your supports are finding picks, and in the end, that's what you need in Overwatch to make things a little bit more unbalanced.
Well, there's still no rest for the weary, though, because as I said earlier, it is not the only Overwatch match tonight. We've also got Mountain Watch on deck with Boise State's old rivals, UNLV. This should be a good one coming on up. So like I said, there is still tons more to get to. You are not going to want to go away after this break. We've got more Overwatch to bring to you, so don't go away. As Boise State starts with the rally, and Orem is taken out. The overclock is offline. Photon barrier spent by Ohio State. They cannot bring things back.
Monkey on Vara this time.
I am curious. I am going to be curious to see what perks Daydream chooses. But as for right now, Hex gets the first blood of the fight onto Aram. And then we also get Strider. I mean, if the lava wasn't hot enough, things are really going to get spicy as we go on. But Donut is taken out by Maxwell. That's a huge pick for the Broncos. So now going after the 4. Clear manages to pick up the elimination. Again, this is going to be the most long, drawn-out, sustaining fight. And here we go. It starts out. And no rampage for Ohio State as Maxwell takes King Donut out with the railgun. And now it's going to overclock. Get the pick on a Monkey team. Soon follows Clear, trying to buy some time for his team. Taking the robot back from under the Buckeyes' feet. And managing to pick up 2 ultimates on top of that. He gets both supports for the Buckeyes. And now Boise State has enough time.
Growing up in Riggins, we have certain rules we live by. Look both ways before crossing the street. Fishing stories get better the more you tell them. Small town life makes your life anything but small. Never work alone when you go hunting. And always buckle up. Seatbelts save lives. That's a rule we can all live by.
Scott Matlock, underrated recruit, has built himself into one of the best defensive players in the Mountain West.
What would you do if you couldn't fail? Would you see every setback as a catalyst to keep going? This is the innovator's mindset, because innovation demands daring. Is finding thousands of ways that don't work, and the one that changes everything. It's when your unrelenting spirit sees the world's needs and says, I will create something better. So, what will you do? Will you let your genius run wild? Give yourself the space to be great? Set your sights on something even bigger, because we know changing the world doesn't happen by chance. It comes out of the blue.
At Blue Ribbon Painting, we're proud to be a locally family-owned and operated business dedicated to bringing your vision to life. Whether it's freshening up your home with interior or exterior painting or tackling a commercial project, we've got you covered. When you choose Blue Ribbon Painting, you're not just hiring painters. You're getting a team that's committed to making your vision a reality. Call or text us at 208-369-2583 or visit us at blueribbonpainting.net. Your project deserves a blue ribbon finish.
Home is where you hang your hat, snuggle up, hide out. Home is when you're with the ones you love. It isn't just a place, it's a state of mind. At Idaho Central Credit Union, our home is Idaho. We grew up here, and we're proud to help more Idahoans with their home loan than any other financial institution. Idaho Central Credit Union. We believe home is where you make it. Idaho Central Credit Union, looking after your daily balance.